Hello everyone, this is Disnet, and yesterday I released a video about my reaction to this image right here. This is posted by RedHook. And today I decided to analyze this image and discuss various possibilities of who the character in this picture might be. On the internet you'll find at least 3 options of who this is. Whether it's a hero or an enemy, I do not know. This is also going to be a non-biased discussion. I don't want to influence your opinion or thoughts. I want you to form your own conclusion based on what I present to you. And the first option that we have here is that this is Flagellant. And that's because the quote that is used in there is his quote when you hire him, with a little change. The quote is, "There is power in the blight for those with the fortitude to pay the price." And Flagellant's quote is the same thing, but instead of blight, it's blood. And also we can notice this color. This is the same color that Flagellant has. And other than that, there's nothing else that would suggest that this is Flagellant. Flagellant is mostly a bleed-based hero. He punishes himself and bleeds himself to unleash his power and to damage his enemies. And his blight resist is pretty average, and he has no trinkets and certainly no moves that would suggest that he uses something blight related. The only move that has something similar with blight is his Suffer, and Suffer transfers blight and bleed from someone else onto himself, and the main purpose of this move is that so he could suffer more. It's called Suffer. And this next fact that I'm going to say is a little spoiler, so if you don't want to hear any kind of spoilers for Darkest Dungeon 2, then skip right here. Flagellant does actually appear in Darkest Dungeon 2, and more specifically in Vestal's backstory. He appears as an enemy, and his design is based on his early design for Darkest Dungeon 1. You can see that his face is covered, so you cannot relate to him. He doesn't wear any pants, and he looks more barbaric, as this note describes. The second option that we have is that this is Crusader. And now why is that? The quote certainly doesn't match him, and his blight resist is also average. So where's the similarity? It's actually in his backstory. He wears the same color as portrayed in this image. And also, one of his trinkets produces blight, and that one is non-Euclidean hilt. I imagine that the blight comes out of the sword rather than his hand, so this image might be a little bit misleading. As for the quote, I ran over his dialogue, and the only 2 things that I could find that have something to do with blight or paying the price are in his paranoid quote, "Your words are poison, I choose otherwise." And from his powerful quote, "I have sacrificed so much, now I shall claim all." Crusader mostly talks about judgment or justice and how he follows the light. Unless you count masochistic, which every hero shares. He doesn't talk much about bloodletting or suffering. In one promotional artwork of Darkest Dungeon 2, you can actually see Crusader's helmet right here. It looks exactly the same as the one that we are familiar with, so you can compare. The final option that we have here is that this is Abomination. Abomination is half human and half beast, who is infected with eldritch blood. He's hero with the highest blight resist. He shares the same spot as Plague Doctor, so he's very blight resistant. And he has one move which produces blight. When he uses the move Transform, he receives a little bit of blight resist. When you look at his weapons icon, it looks very similar to the image that was posted. And now, normally his shackles are non-spiked. He doesn't have spikes on his shackles, as we can see right here. But in Butcher's Circus, he has one trinket that has spikes, and that one is spiked chains. So you can take a look at those. And now, why would they use different quote for Abomination that is taken from Flagellant's class and just replacing the blood with blight? You know, the blight part is obvious, but what about the price? In his combat skills description, it says, beaten, branded, and imprisoned for untold decades. This fertile vagrant hides a terrible secret. The eldritch poison, coursing through his veins, has given him unspeakable power at a terrible cost. As his form changes, so too does his role in combat. Another quote that I found was in his hopeless dialogue. Was this all worth it? For knowledge? For gold? So there was some kind of price. And if you want more dialogues which directs to blight or poison, it's from his camp skill Eldritch Blood. There is no greater poison than what already flows through my veins. And it was already mentioned in his combat description that he was tortured. But you can find this quote also that says, "Thank my torturer who was tasked with keeping me alive." And here's another quote that is related to blood. "I am merely a puppet to what crawls insidious through my blood." There's actually one thing that appears in Darkest Dungeon 2 that is similar to Abomination, so let's check that out. And it's this corpse that you can find in Academic Study. You can see it's some kind of guy who has shackles on his hand, and this lock is similar to Abomination's lock of patience. But he doesn't have other features that Abomination has, like he has full hair, whereas Abomination is half shaved and he has A on his head, and he wears a madman's jacket, whereas Abomination is wearing only pants. So yeah, that's everything that I have right here. Let me know in the comments what you think, which one of the options is going to be, or if you have any other options, you can also let me down in the comments. When it comes to me, I am scared because 8th of May just happens to be my birthday, and my number one favorite hero is Abomination. So when this day comes out, I'll either be super disappointed or just cry out of joy. But until then, I want to distract myself with something else because the way this whole picture is presented makes me super nervous. And yeah, that's all that I have. Thanks so much for watching and have a nice day.